in 2023, despite the county's Department of Health initially requesting only 100 recruits. EACC investigators say some officials are accused of taking bribes of up to 350,000 Kenya shillings per employment letter, raising fears of a massive graft scheme in the county's health sector. Now, Senator Oburu Oginga has also raised concern over the recruitment process, urging relevant authorities to act swiftly to safeguard public resources and ensure only legitimately hired doctors remain on the payroll.
Request those affected Kenyans to support the commission, come forward with those employment letters, and we should be having a head count in the course of this week. We will be calling upon all those employees, 500 of them, so that we pick from them all the documents and subject them to, scientific verification to get to know who was the originator of those employment letters. The commission will take appropriate action. Those ones who engineered this scam will be sanctioned. And we hope in the end, the amount of pain that they have caused to our brothers, our sisters, they will face commensurate consequences.
Right now, the High Court in Machakos has lifted a temporary order that had temporarily halted by the impeachment process against Machakos County Assembly Speaker Ann Kusia, paving the way for the ward representatives to proceed with the motion. Now, the Speaker had filed a petition in March seeking to stop the process, but the court's latest decision allows the Assembly to resume the impeachment proceedings. Majority Leader Nicholas Nzioka confirmed that the motion has now been forwarded to the House Business Committee for scheduling and subsequent debate on the floor of the House. Before the legal challenge, at least 33 members of County Assembly had signed in support of the motion to oust Speaker Kusia.
One of the grounds that we raise for her impeachment is misuse of public funds, and she traveled on a foreign trip using public funds, but for a private function and with non-members of the County Assembly to that function. So the Auditor General of Kenya has found her culpable.
Now, 5 chiefs from Elwak, Mandera South, who were recently kidnapped by suspected Al-Shabaab militia, will be honored with the state commendations for their resilience and service. The announcement was made during the Jukwaa la Usalama Security Assessment Forum, where government officials lauded the chiefs for their courage in the face of insecurity along the Kenya-Somalia border. Speaking at the event, the chiefs welcomed the state decision to arm and train them in counter-terrorism technical combat skills to enhance their capacity to maintain law and order in their jurisdictions. The administrators further appealed to the government to deploy National Police Reservists, that is the NPR, to provide additional security backup, citing the persistent threat posed by the Al-Shabaab militias in the region.
Sisi tunafanya patroli kila wakati, tunatembea iko na sala pamoja na askari yetu na KBR yetu, ndio sisi tunatembea kila wakati. Wale maharamia wanaangamisha watu wetu, sisi tunataka kuangamisha, tutaendelea kuangamisha ikipata salata. Tunakanyaga na mguu 20 km, 30 km, 50 km, tunaenda kuangamisha. Tuko na diari kuangamisha hao kama tunapata salata.
Wale wanahitaji training watatrainiwa, na tutasaidia hao kwa kupatia bunduki ili wajilinde maisha yao. Sio Mandera peke yake, ni sehemu zote za Kenya ambaye aswa frontier counties. Na sio kusema, unajua kuna watu wengine wanasema sasa nimesema chiefs wote wapewe bunduki. Hapana. Hii ni security assessment of the need ya wale ambao wako especially kwa borders ya Kenya na kwa sehemu ambazo tuko na shida ya terrorism na banditry. Hawa ndio wanawekwa kibao mbele.
Right now, let's talk matters education. And Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba has called on striking university lecturers to return to work, assuring them that the government has released 2.5 billion Kenya shillings for the implementation of Phase 2 of the 2021-2025 Collective Bargaining Agreement. Speaking in Mombasa on Tuesday during the opening of a national conference on the status of pre-service teacher training and teacher employment, Ogamba warned that a failure to comply with the court order directing lecturers to end the strike could lead to disciplinary action. Ogamba further noted that other grievances raised by lecturers will be addressed through dialogue once they return to their duties.
Action might be taken against you. So we are asking, we have done a lot in the sector, and we've agreed that all grievances can be discussed without us going on strike, which affects our learners.
We are trying to weed out any perceived ghost students or ghost schools in our system. So we are now working very hard to ensure that we have the right data of how many schools we have in Kenya, how many learners are in which school, how many learners are in which region, and we are optimistic by the end of this week, we should have very clean data on how many students we have, how many students we have, and that will actually affect the distribution of teachers in our country. It's going to affect significantly because we shall get very clear picture of what is going on.
All right, 2 petitions have been filed in court demanding justice and compensation of 21 families who lost their sons in the Hillside Endarasha Academy tragedy. The petitions were jointly filed by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, Elimu Bora Working Group, and a section of bereaved parents. Now, the petitioners are seeking the court's intervention to compel the government to take action against Ministry of Education officials and the school administration for alleged negligence that led to the deaths. Now, in a statement, KHRC welcomed the decision by the Director of Public Prosecution to initiate a public inquest into the incident, saying it was a crucial step towards accountability.
We are convinced that there was negligence and that justice needs to be served. We are convinced that someone should be held accountable because someone slept on their job. Because no parent in this country or elsewhere should send their children to school only to receive them in charred form.
It is a pity that we can assume that after such an act happened, then everything just goes on normal, like nobody cares. We put it at the doorstep of the government that they have a right, they have a responsibility to protect the rights.
Under the civil claim is where we'll be seeking the damages under the Fatal Accidents Act and the Law Reform Act for the lives that have been lost. And our suit under the civil claim mirrors the one that happened in the year 2001 in the fire that happened in Changuli Secondary.
Now let's talk matters politics, and the Orange Democratic Movement Party has announced that it has no preferred candidate for the Kasipul parliamentary seat ahead of the nomination exercise scheduled for tomorrow. Branch Chairperson Eva Sindege assured all aspirants that the process will be free, fair and transparent, guaranteeing a level playing field for everyone. Meanwhile, local leaders and aspirants have called for peace during the primaries, urging supporters to avoid acts of violence or activities that could trigger chaos during the exercise.
To urge all aspirants in Kasipul constituencies, let's embrace peace. We want peaceful nominations. At the end of the day, we'll only have one candidate. So let's embrace peace and let age not be a determinant in electing a leader in this country.
There is nobody in Kasipul or in Homa Bay County who is forcing the electors to vote in Boyd Were. Ikifika on Wednesday, kila mtu atapata kupita.
Right, moving on, squatter communities in Mombasa have called on the government to strengthen the use of the alternative justice system to address decades-long land disputes, citing absentee landlords, missing land records and stalled funding as key obstacles to securing tenure. Speaking during an AJS sensitization forum organized by Haki Yetu organization, Lands and Governance Officer John Paul Obonyo said residents from Mwakirunge, Likoni, Mleji and Junda had engaged with AJS under the Article 159 subsection 2 of the Constitution, but continued to face challenges in obtaining ownership rights.
Now in financial year 25-26, we've seen they've allocated 3.8 billion to settle the landless. Who are the landless? Have we mapped out the landless? The National Land Policy stated very clearly that number one, we need to ensure that those areas which need to be addressed and on land matters have been mapped out. No mapping out has been done, but we're seeing that there's an effort by the government to allocate 3.8 billion. But for who? That's the biggest question. We applaud them, yes, but we need to ask ourselves, who will be the beneficiaries of this particular 3.8 billion this financial year? Changamoto kubwa kwa wanasiasa wetu ambao tunafaa kuuliza wabunge wote Kenya mzima. Ukiangalia sheria Land Act section 162E inapatia jukumu kwa wabunge wetu kukuja na kanuni za kuweza kuendesha shughuli hii ya ardhi. Kusudi pate tume ya kitaifa ardhi kuendesha shughuli zake. Hawajafanya hiyo. Kwa hivyo mwaka 2027 na hii tunahakikishia wale wote ambao wataingia katika debe. Kama una agenda ya ardhi, tuambie umefanya nini kwanza. Inakuwa ni kura yangu, shamba yangu. Wamechelewa pakubwa, hawajafanya jukumu hilo. Kwa hivyo pwani wote lazima waamke wajiulize wamefanya nini kuhusu swala la ardhi. Siku moja dakika mwisho kama rais anakuja kisha wanadandia. Hii si effort yao, hii ni effort ya watu wengine ya serikali ya county na serikali kuu. Wao wako wapi? Wameanza shughuli gani ya mchakato upi wa kuweza kuhakikisha kuwa jamii za pwani zinamilikishwa kwa ukamili na kwa utaratibu kwa njia ya haki. We've realized that there have been some challenges with this process. For the last 3 years, number one, some communities have engaged the National Land Commission, but we are actually waiting for the outcome of this particular process through the historical land injustices. Secondly, we're also looking at the aspect of the issue of missing files, because landowners do not actually, not all of them pay land rates. And you know very well that the Lands Department contributes largely to the issue of land rates in this county. But when it comes to budget allocation, they're only given a measly 4 to 5% only. The question is, how do we address the land question without proper planning and proper budget allocation?
Tumekaa kwa hiyo shamba zaidi sasa na miaka kama 15, lakini tukijaribu kutafuta tupate mwenye ardhi, ni kwamba mwenye ardhi kweli alikufa na watoto wake walibaki. Lakini watoto wamekataa kuja kwenye mesa ili ya kwamba tuwe na mazungumzo ili tuweze kupata hati miliki. So imekuwa ndondo suku ya kwamba tunakaa pale kama squatter, ambao ni kwamba hawezi kufanya development yoyote kama hauna hati miliki. So imetufungia kufanya maendeleo mengi. Tumejaribu kutafuta, hata ukienda katika tume ya ardhi, katika ofisi ya ardhi, unakuta kwamba file ya hiyo shamba imefichwa.
All right, it is exactly 15 minutes past the top of the hour. We are due for a short breather here on EBN Prime Edition, but we'll be back with much more. Don't go. Members of the Kenya Junior School Teachers Association, that is KJUTSA, in Makueni and Kwale various counties are demanding autonomy from the primary education level. Now the junior secondary school teachers want to be recognized as an independent institution by the Ministry of Education, arguing that the current education system is structured 2633, not 293. Among their key demands is the recognition of junior schools as a distinct and separate level of education. They're also rejecting the introduction of comprehensive schools, which they claim undermine the structure of the GSS system.
Potential working pattern education reforms came and nearly rubbished the recommendations of the Odhiambo Task Force of 2012 and the Fatuma Chege Task Force. JSS teachers are dissatisfied, they are disgruntled, they are not comfortable in the working environment where their services have been domiciled. We are just talking about quantity education in Kenya as at now, but not quality education. our appeal is to the Education Committee of Parliament, to the Presidency, to urgently revisit the issue of autonomy and domiciling of JSS in primary, where even the infrastructure is inadequate and substandard. In high school, infrastructure is already established. We have the labs, we have the dorms, we have established infrastructure.
We are not happy by the treatment we are receiving in these primary schools. We want the President and the entire cabinet, plus the members of parliament, to strictly follow the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. It established the 26333 system of education. Why are they dragging us back to 2933 system of education? Junior secondary school is independent, and as such, it must be run independently. We have issues back at school in terms of management. We have issues of career progression. It is not clear. We don't know where we are going. We don't know where we are. And we are saying, as much as we are in these primary institutions, where is the career progression? We are not seeing it.
We talked about 2633. That is what we are going for. And us, the shepherd, the parents, we are the shepherds of your children. We have seen the prey in the field, and we are drawing this to your attention, that we are experiencing confusion as a result of this sessional paper. Autonomy will ensure standards in our schools. Autonomy will ensure that education is delivered the way it was purposed and the way those ones who started this thing had foreseen it. Actually, we are not demanding anything else. Anything short of autonomy will not be accepted.
All right, moving on to matters healthcare. In fact, healthcare workers in Siaya County paralyzed operations at the county headquarters and county assembly demanding reinstatement back to work. Now, the Siaya County government terminated the contracts of 382 health workers accused of obtaining jobs using forged employment records. Now, the sweeping action followed a detailed audit by the County Public Service Board in collaboration with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that is the DCI. Now, the probe was prompted by complaints from more than 500 individuals who said they had not received salaries for months. Investigators uncovered irregularities in appointment records, including deployment letters and that were dated earlier than official appointment letters.
Ruambwa Sub-County Hospital in Alego Usonga. Yes. Registered clinical officers, nurses, nutritionists, and health record and information officers. All of them 14 affected in one facility. Departments have closed down, crisis in the maternity, and we have long queues at the OPD and MCH.
Those are factual.
Wagoro dispensary.
Yes.
Nurses serving this dispensary, all have been affected. The facility has closed down. Yes. County Assembly of Siaya, we as the petitioners, yes. We were supposed to be listened to.
Yes.
So instead of listening to us, we are again succumbing to their loyalty to the executive.
Yes.
But you know what? As healthcare workers in Siaya County, we are not disrespectful.
Of course.
We will honor their wish. We will answer to their call.
They are summoning us instead of summoning the Public Service Board. If it is a matter of investigating all these shenanigans, it should start with 181, 120, 36. You see? Yeah, the deployment started in 2022. The same package is there. The last, actually, the advert was in 2023. That is what we are deployed for. Are we together? Yes. So these shenanigans they are bringing on a space, we are not going to tolerate that nonsense. Are we together? Yeah. Yes. So 181, 120, 36, including 382 should be falling in that scrutiny. Are we together? Yeah. If the scrutiny is going to be done, it's supposed to be between 181, 120, 36, and 381. That's all.
Now, environmentalists and fishermen in Kwale County have strongly called for a total ban on the use of plastic, including common items such as bags and bottles, in an effort to combat rising levels of environmental pollution. The appeal comes as marine ecosystems along Kenya's coastline continue to suffer from the harmful effects of plastic waste. Speaking during a community-led beach cleanup exercise at the shores of Msambweni, the stakeholders highlighted the alarming rate of which plastic waste is ending up in the ocean. They noted that discarded plastics have become a major threat to marine biodiversity, particularly to endangered species such as sea turtles, which often mistake plastic bags for food or become entangled in debris, leading to injury or death.
Idea kubwa sababu ukiangalia ukitembea kwa mtaa hakuna zile plastic bag kama zilikuwa zamani, lakini pia zinauzwa backdoor na pia vitu mingi zinafugwa na plastic, so tunaendelea kuona plastic. Actually Kenya yafaa iban plastic kabisa including chupa za plastic. Washa watu wabebe chupa ambao hazichafui mazingira. Hii kufunga vitu na maplastic, pia tuwafaa tutumie mbinu nyingine ya kutumia vitu ambao inaweza oza, biodegradable materials.
Uchafu hapa ni chupa kama hizi ni nyingi zaidi kwa sababu watu wanakuja kujivinjari na kunywa maji. Kwa hivyo wanatupa hizo chupa. So sisi kama wana mazingira tunashughulika kufanya usafi ili bahari iwe safi.
Na sababu kuu ambayo inaendelea saizi ni tunafaa ku-empower each other as youths, kuhusiana na mambo na recycling, kuhusiana na mambo na turning waste into cash.
Wageni wetu wanapokuja katika bichi yetu wakiona ni safi, wataipenda zaidi. Na kwa upande wa samaki sasa, ndio hapo tunahitaji beach iwe safi kusudi samaki wasidhurike. Sio tu kwamba kasa peke yake akila ile plastiki anakufa, bali hata juu ng'ombe pia akila plastiki basi umri wake umekwisha.
Right, now let's get sporty, and athletes from Elgeyo Marakwet County have emerged winners of the North Rift Cross Country Championships held in Samburu County. The event brought together top athletes from across the North Rift region, with Titus Kiprotich clinching victory in the men's 10 kilometers race, while Monica Cheptarus dominated the women's 2-kilometer race. Speaking after the competition, officials from the North Rift Athletics Federation expressed optimism that the athletes will represent Kenya in the next year's World Cross Country Championships. Organizers further stated that beyond identifying potential representatives for the global event, the competition has also aims to promote unity and cohesion among communities in the region.
Tunaim Tokyo, tunaim World Cross Country. Sasa mimi naomba Mungu atusaidie tuweze kwenda Tokyo.
Tunakimbia mbio ya kilomita 2 kwa masaa ya dakika 6 na 33. Nilikuwa nimejipanga vizuri. Coach alikuwa amenipea program nzuri ya kutrain.
It's a powerhouse region, and I've said we've won the national cross country 13 consecutive times. So we are going for the 14th edition. What will stop us? You've seen the galaxy of the runners we've had here. These are incredible runners.
Pesa iko peke yake kwa kuiba, nini mali mifuko. Tunahimiza vijana wetu ambao wanatusikiza kwa leo kwamba mbio pia ina faida na inatumika kupata.
All right, it is exactly 31 minutes past the top of the hour. Many thanks, of course, keeping us company here on EBN Prime Edition. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Laura Omondi. My name is Martin Macharia, and from us to you, it's a good night, and let's do this again when God says we do.